I played DJ Open Request line on Instagram recently and asked, as a creative entrepreneur and small business owner, what would help you out most right now with everything that is going on in the world? Yes, I am a conversion copywriter for creatives like you, but I would not be worth my salt if I couldn't help you figure out how to properly install all your landing page copy, your website words, any of that messaging into your website. And I can't let you walk around with the digital version of spinach in your teeth now, can I? You may have heard me say before that conversion can never die on the hill of, but I just want it to be pretty. So here is part one of a two-part series that I'm doing, talking all about website conversion hacks you can do. So by the end of this video, you'll walk away with 7 website optimization tweaks you can make today to see more conversions. Hey there, my name is Ashlyn Carter, and like I said, I'm a conversion copywriter for creatives and small business owners like you. These are trying times for us as small business owners, and the past few weeks or months, I've done a lot of content about crafting your marketing strategy and then creating the content, but all of that has one goal, and it's driving traffic to your website. You've got to have your website dialed in and working before you start all those other marketing efforts, the social media, the PR, and the pitching, the email marketing. It's why I'm so passionate inside my signature Copywriting for Creatives program that we really focus on getting your website words dialed in a 30, 60, or 90-day plan. We start there, then we can add on other marketing things. My friend and conversion designer Matt Hall said this: design and copy have to fight each other, and whomever wins gets the better page. I love that. And whenever we're helping our clients install copy that we've written on the agency side of my business, or helping students install their copy, my goal is really one thing. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that reader, that user doesn't have to think harder than they already are. That's called cognitive load, and we want to reduce that as much as possible. One reason I love working with creatives so much is because usually we like pretty things. Website copy and design work in tandem together to elevate and give your user an enjoyable experience, right? You want them to have a good time when they're reading and looking at this website page you've built. We don't want them to have to think too much. So let's get into the tips. Tip number one, what exactly is conversion? So simply put, it's the number of visitors divided by the number that take action. Now that's very simply put because so many other things affect that, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute, but first this. Famed copywriter Gary Halbert was teaching some students one time, and he asked them to go against him in an imaginary hamburger stand battle. He told them, you can pick any advantage that you want. What would you pick? You can have anything. Answers were all over the place and varied, and then he said this: you can have all those advantages, I just want one, and that is the advantage of a starving crowd. Ding, ding, ding. If people aren't hungry for and want what you're putting out, then talking about conversions is null and void. So product market fit is most important, but once you have that offer dialed in, it's more fun. We get to play around with these other type of elements. The message, the positioning, the copy, the things I love to talk about so much. The trust level that you have with your audience, the cost of the item or the product or the service, the experience on the website itself, and definitely the design. So here's your homework. Every creative needs to understand what is the main conversion you want people to take when they land on this page of your website. Now, don't freak out about data. It is your friend when it comes to delivering the best experience possible for your clients and customers. So if that conversion rate is the number of conversions divided by the number of visitors times 100. So let's look at an example of that. If you had 6,000 visitors to your pre-designed logo shop or watercolor item shop, 100 of them took action and bought something, then your conversion rate would be 1.7%. I'm going to put that little equation right here on the side so you can screenshot it. Go ahead, I'll wait. And comment below if that helps you and demystifies all this conversion talk just a little bit, if it gives you something concrete that you can actually look at and put on paper. Number 2, your forms suck. So I was on my walk with my 1-year-old this week, socially distancing during the quarantines as one does, and I was voice noting back and forth with my best friend who also has a business. She was asking some questions about the sales funnel and the forms involved in the process to get people to book her for her high-end one-on-one brand photography service. I was panting going uphill, so it took me this many voice notes, but let me give you the cliff notes of what I said. The goal is to reduce friction, and as I say a lot, grease that slide as much as possible for your user. So a tip here, can you include some copy before that tells them maybe how long to expect that this form will take them? Will it take them 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes? And then can you also tell them when they can expect to hear back from you? Only ask for what you really need to know. If it's an optional field, you probably don't need it. But I will say here, shorter does not always win against a longer form. Sometimes a little bit longer of a form can make you seem more credible and also qualify your leads a little bit because it takes more effort to fill it out. Also, only use those inline fields where you remove the copy that says what it is on a really short form where you have like name and email address. People tend to forget what they're answering when they get going, and so sometimes keeping that question up at the top can help, again, especially on a little bit longer form. So here's your takeaway. Grab your phone and fill out your form on your website on mobile. If you skip a field, do you get an error? And if so, did you make that clear elsewhere what you need for that field? Number 3, let's talk about your money-making pages. The first thing I want you to do here is use quick copy shots sparingly to help drill down and make it easier for your user to figure out what's going on and what they need. Quick story, I am always the girl at a restaurant that sits down and just asks the server, what's good, what are the favorites, what do people like, what do you like? I just need them to narrow down this long cocktail list and this long menu into things that are actually house favorites. Very rarely does this lead me astray. I'm also not really picky, which helps. Silly example, but the same way that reduces my options and just drills them down to a few, you can do the same thing for your users on your website. Again, I'm calling them little copy shots, but can you add language that helps them understand this is new, this is on sale, this is most popular, or a staff favorite, or the most economical choice. Don't make it complicated, don't use jargon. We've seen this work really well on product descriptions on other websites, places like Sephora and Boll & Branch I saw recently, but you could also use this on your services page. Another big thing people ask me a lot, do I list my prices or not? My rule of thumb recommendation is not to hide it, but I do think it's a little bit of case by case, and that's why my Copywriting for Creative students know that I love to always include coaching calls so we can actually talk about your business and your people and what they're looking for, because it can differ a little bit based on what you offer. But by and large, whatever you do, I'm imagining that people have some sort of a budget in mind that they are going to spend. So if you're making them jump through hoops to figure out what that even is, and if you're anywhere near their budget, that may frustrate them a little bit. Understandably so. Price is one of the things that helps people decide. Remember, I mentioned that at the beginning. One idea for you here, I've told a lot of my students and clients, specifically those in the wedding industry, that even if you can give them a starting at number or help them understand that your wedding couples typically spend X% of their entire wedding budget on the service that you provide. It just helps them set expectations so they can get to the next step in your sales process. Last quick tip here, make sure that your navigation is pared down and less cluttered. I see this all the time up at the top when there's so many options to click on that I don't really know where to start first. And this has been a big wake-up call to me that I've tested on my website in the past year. Go into your Google Analytics and see what pages actually get little traffic, and maybe those need to be pulled out of your top navigation. Is there another way that you can communicate those things somewhere else on your website or on that long-form services page? Just don't give them, like I said, it's the same analogy as going to the restaurant and just giving somebody way too many options. Can I, up at the top, simply figure out what I'm looking for and find it? If you need to include more things in your footer navigation, then go for it. Also, up in that navigation, make sure you're explaining things in a way that people actually say them. Don't use jargon. Don't give me the cute names of your services and your products, because I don't know those yet. I'm brand new to you and what you do. Comment below, heck yes, if you've ever overcomplicated your navigation or had way too many pages on your website that people weren't even going to. I've totally done this, but the data doesn't lie, and it's helped me drill that down. And number 4, your call to actions. So you need to decide your one goal on every page of your website and write that down before you start drafting the copy. And yes, copy comes first because copy dictates design and not the other way around. When I'm doing audits and teardowns with my Copywriting for Creative students, this is what I come back to when I'm looking at their copy. I'm always looking at that template and I'm saying, number 1, what is the goal of this page? Okay, got that. Now I can actually look at the page and see if it meets that. You can get a little taste of that in this Google website copywriting template that I have for you, where you're gonna have that place where you need to write down your goal first. I'll link that freebie down below. And a word here about having a call to action button on that hero image of your website. So I used to not know how I feel about this, because at that point in the journey, it's pretty early to ask somebody to commit to something, right? But what I've learned over time as I've tested it on my own website, clients' websites, and read and researched, is it's a great primer that at some point you're gonna be asking them to do something on this website. So even if they're not clicking that button right away, which ideally would be great, you're priming them. You've put this little breadcrumb in their mind that when they're looking at this page and their brain starts to put together the fact that, aha, remember that thing up at the top I was supposed to do? I can scroll back up and do it. Now, there's something called Fitts Law, and I'm not gonna dig too deep into the classical definition of that. You can just Google it. But here is how it applies to user experience in your website. The bigger and closer that an object is to us, the easier it is to use it, i.e., if you can make things look big and clicky and like a button, it's probably gonna behoove you more. Don't make your buttons really hard for me to figure out it's a button. For the copy on the button itself, a good rule of thumb is to say, I want fill that in, and that's the copy that you can use there. Also pay attention, what are people searching for that brings them to your website? And then if you can figure out what people, a lot of websites have this option, if you can figure out what they're searching for when they do go to your website, so once they're in your website, what do they search for? And make sure that you're making that, like, that's what they're interested in finding, right? So how can you easily get that right in front of them, what they're looking for? The difference in a good website and a great website is like 20 rounds of revisions. Take the time to go through, comb through, and make sure that your website is answering the questions that it needs to be. And quick ninja tip, if you don't know this, if you can left click, especially if you're using the Chrome browser, go down to inspect and open up that, you're gonna be able to see a developer tool where it looks a little techy, but you can basically toggle between different device shapes and sizes and see what your website will look like on different devices. If you didn't know that, you're welcome. It's a super helpful tip. Whether you're picking a design template for a refreshed website, whether you are the designer or you're just working with one, think less what would look good and think more what would solve the problem. That's why I have my 44 questions your website must answer checklist. It's free, it's ready for you to download. I'll link it down below. If you like this video, click the like button and comment below helpful if it helped you out. And also make sure that while you're down there, you click subscribe because part 2 with more tips on this is coming next week. Now you know some tweaks and switch ups that you can make for more conversions, but what about actually getting people there in the first place? Well, that correlates with your marketing plan that you're using to get traffic and eyeballs on that website. If that's you, be sure to watch this episode next where I talk about how I'm changing and shifting up my marketing plan and how you can too amid marketing during a global pandemic as a small business owner so we can stay in this fight. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.